Jamie made a video looking at Reddit's Genshin meta hot takes. Should we look at that? Actually, fuck the video. I do want to look at the post, though. I'm down. What's your hottest take in regards to Genshin meta? A lot more people are meta slaves than they realize. Yeah, sure. Sort by controversial. Maoika is overrated. You know, I don't necessarily disagree. I do think that she's overrated in some ways. Nightsoul power creep is too much. I don't think that's a hot take at all. Oh my god. This person seems very angry. Neuvillette is overrated. I talked so hard when Zajef said he's better than Maoika because of quality of life. Well, okay. I don't think he's better than Maoika anymore. Because of Stygian Onslaught. But this was said pre-Stygian. But what quality of life does Maoika not have? Have you ever seen a casual player play Maoika? They react their burst like 20% of the time. It's, yeah. And if you've seen a casual player play Neuvillette, they play, like, normally. You kind of can't fuck things up with Neuvillette. Casual players play Melt Citlali, not Melt Maoika, yeah. Farina really isn't all that. True! So true, you tell him. A lot of complaints about power creep are mostly the results of people being bad at the game, whether it's refusing to read the boss mechanic or having the worst rotation/team setups imaginable. Stygian Onslaught is the biggest proof of that. You always see complaints about how you need constellations on premium teams, then not even a day later, multiple posts of people beating Fearless with free-to-play teams. This is a bad take. Like, people that are bad at the game were bad at the game before and are still bad at the game. Right? It's not like suddenly power creep has made them suck more. It's like, I remember seeing someone struggling to beat the Natlan-phobic boss and they were... Wait, what Natlan-phobic boss? Cryo-automaton? Oh. Well, that wasn't really Natlan-phobic. You could... my fastest clear was with Citlali. But a lot of the power creep is self-inflicted. But, like, yeah, to me, that's kind of just a delusional take. Like, can you have relatively worse teams deal with new content with good gameplay and good team building? Sure. But it is objectively more difficult than it used to be. And, like, even a good player on an account that just doesn't have the right answers to things can end up finding themselves unable to beat Stygian Onslaught. Anyways. Here's a real hot take, since most of them in this thread kind of suck, TBH. There's hardly any power creep, and most people do not know what the word means. No, Kevin, it's not power creep, but they release a more powerful character from time to time. That's just power, no creep. So, this is wrong, but it's a good hot take. Because that was true, basically up until Maoika. Because, like, you look at the characters before Maoika, you have characters like Neuvillette, you have characters like, I mean, to some extent, Molani, right? And are they more powerful than the things that were available previously? Yes. But does that necessarily indicate power creep? Not really, because historically, the floor for a lot of units got better with unit releases. Right? Dendro mainly raised the floor for so many things, and it wasn't really power creep, because it's not like new units are really good and old units are bad. It's new units allow certain different old units to reach the same heights of power as what was previously the best teams. But it didn't really increase that. It just made it so that a lot more things could get to that. And that kind of stayed the same until Maoika release. And then Maoika release increased the fucking ceiling by 30k. And since Maoika came out, we've had multiple characters that are noticeably above what was previously that ceiling. They didn't beat Maoika, but this 100 to 130k DPS range, right? Pre-Maoika, no one was there. Post-Maoika, every carry is there. That is power creep. Anyways, was Maoika a mistake? I mean, a mistake implies that it didn't achieve its intended purpose. So, was it a mistake? No. Was it something that pisses me off? Yeah. Maoika is the Gojo of Genshin. So true. Fucking loser, cringe. For some reason, people like her, but no one should. Her presence makes everything more boring. So true. So true. So true. So true. You hate Gojo? I do. Number one Gojo hater. Okay, one. Natlin ruined the meta. This is not a hot take. Old characters should get buffs right now. I don't know how much of a hot take this is. I don't think it's much of a hot take. The Primo economy should also be increased. I mean, that's not a hot take either. Okay, none of these are hot takes. Okay, wait. I think this is supposed to be focused on exploration. I don't know. I actually do think Phlogiston is kind of a shit mechanic. I don't really like it that much. Oh, this one was pre-hidden. Nevinet and Singto are overrated as fuck. Old Man was power crept by Arlecchino, and then got directly power crept as a Hydro DPS by Molani. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is a speedrunner take? This is not a speedrunner take. This is a rage bait take. Okay. Only lore relevant characters should be the top DPSs and supports. I like Vressa, but it doesn't make sense for her to be strong. Same with Escoffier, who's just a random chef. I think that is a hot take. I disagree with it. But I don't think it's a bad take necessarily, because personally, I don't give a fuck who's meta and who's not. Like, I don't really have much of an attachment to the characterization of any of the units I play. If they gave, like, Yume Glorp Glorp Mawika's kit, I just play Yume Glorp Glorp over Mawika the same way I play Mawika. Like, I wouldn't give a fuck. You know? As much as I like Verissa, she shouldn't have power crept a literal Archon. Yeah, I half agree with this. The biggest problem here is it's a result of Mawika, right? Mawika was too strong, and it just completely fucked balancing for any character released after. If they made Verissa weaker than Raiden, she would have been completely worthless. Like, Raiden is just not good now. And to be fair, Raiden's best team at C0R0 right now is better than Verissa's best team. Because Hyperbloom is kind of the GOAT. Nightsoul being pushed as a mechanic was healthy and good for the game, and looking back, the mechanic behind Natlin characters and enemies was more than justified. I don't hate this take. Like, on one hand, I disagree with a part of it, but it's not because I think that it's inherently bad. I don't think Nightsoul is inherently bad. I think Cinder City is too strong. But that's not really the Nightsoul mechanic's problem. I actually do kind of like Nightsoul as a mechanic. It is a good mechanic. But Cinder City's too strong, which makes it so that slapping Nightsoul on a character inherently makes them way more powerful. Which kind of feels wrong. Also, Nightsoul transmission in combat and overworld is the thing that feels the worst in the fucking game. There is no meta. I mean, that's just I don't care about the meta disguised as a general statement. Like, there is no teapot because I don't interact with that system. Well, it still fucking exists just because you don't like it. Like, this is a very self-important take, I think. That's different. Meta is completely irrelevant. I disagree, but sure. This is definitely not a hot take. Not a hot take. The content in Genshin is the easiest. Anyone complaining is either a new player or trash at the game. Yeah, the content is very easy. Except for the difficult content, which, I mean, does exist. And it is difficult. But, forget about it because it doesn't suit my agenda. Like, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Oh, good hot take. Okay, Sijuin is nowhere near as bad as people make her out to be. She just doesn't fit into the archetype of hypercarry. The same idea applied for Kokomi before Dendro. Additionally, Kokomi and Sijuin have completely different uses, so Sijuin is not a worse Kokomi. So, the first part, I think that's fair. The second part is wrong. What is the completely different use that Sijuin has that Kokomi doesn't? Like, what is her purpose in a team that cannot be fulfilled by Kokomi? And I'm not talking about whether she does it better or worse. I'm talking about in what way does Sijuin achieve something that is completely different from what Kokomi can do. Team-wide healing? I mean, that's not a completely different thing. Team-wide healing is just single-target healing, but better. Also, Kokomi can do team-wide healing. It just requires a bit of field time. I think Sijuin was a massive missed opportunity. She could have been an interesting Bond of Life focused buffer, but she just wasn't. Instead, she's a healer that has a Bond of Life mechanic that doesn't really do anything. I do agree that she's not as bad as people make her out to be. Although, I don't know if that's gonna stay accurate in the future. Right? Because at the end of the day, all she really does is a very, very tiny buff, healing, and pretty underwhelming Hydro App. But, like, a character release nowadays just does so much more. So as soon as we get another Hydro healer, Sejuani is gonna comparatively be so fucking dog shit. It all makes no sense. Sejuani's ult is straight up just not supposed to be a C0 thing. Her ult is basically... They didn't really want to make Sejuani a character with interesting support cons. So her ult is the channel through which you can make Sejuani a pseudo carry with cons. It's not really a relevant ability at C0. They are just making things up here. I saw too many Verissa Gauzier miss their plunge that their clear time in Abyss is much slower than A National. Is that Verissa Gauzier in the room with us right now? Mawika sucks lol, her gameplay's clunky. So true! So true! There is zero reason to care about the meta. This is a hot take, but it's not a good hot take, because it's just a stupid fucking thing. It's like, I don't care about it, therefore, anyone who does care is doing so for no reason, and is stupid, and actually, I'm superior to them. Like, that's not what they said, but it kind of is what they're implying. Like, if there is zero reason to care, then you're saying that the people who do care without reason. Like, there are ways to express this idea that aren't dismissive. So why would you choose to be dismissive in the way you express the idea? Right? Like, well, why? Genshin has some of the best power creep in gacha, even after Natlan. It's ridiculously slow in comparison to the competition. That's true. But also, if you just look at the... When did Mawika come out? Mawika release date. Oh, New Year's. That. If you just look at the fucking, like, 9 months time period with Mawika release, it is not slow. Like, that's the thing, right? It's because we didn't really get any relevant power creep until like, mid-Fontaine. Like, early mid-Fontaine with Nebula. That's when it kind of started. But if you look at the power creep since then, it's not really that much slower than other gacha games. Okay, this is an interesting hot take, right? Top level speedrunning doesn't take much skill. I don't disagree with that. I do think it's important to highlight that this is different from it does not require skill. The main thing is that speedrunning is the sort of stuff that is... Genshin is the sort of game that doesn't really punish you for not playing well, right? Like, they compare it to MOBAs. If you like, let's say you're a fucking league player, right? You go play your ranked games, you start ranking up, cool, you get to, like, Platinum. You're a relatively new player, you have an okay-ish understanding of the game, but you're not, like, the GOAT. You make a mistake, you get punished for it, you lose the game. Cooked. You get direct negative feedback. You get the feedback that tells you, I have lost the game. And that can serve as motivation to try to find what you did wrong and improve. Genshin doesn't really have that negative feedback very often. Which means, for a lot of people, they never have an incentive to try to improve. And even if they do, it's hard to tell how. It's hard to tell where they made their mistake. Most Genshin players would not be able to reproduce top-level speed running. But that's because they never really looked into how to play the game well, right? Like, the average plat player in League has watched fucking 1,000 hours of League content on YouTube or on Twitch. A lot of which at least somewhat addressed things to do and not to do. That's not the case for a lot of for a lot of Genshin players. So the average player won't really be trying that hard, basically. Whereas, if you show someone if you show the average player someone doing a speedrun, and then you let them log into to the same account and try it, and you let them like go look at the initial speedrun however many times they want while they're playing, they'll get results that are not that much worse, probably. There's a few teams that are exceptions that are actually difficult, but like as a general rule, a lot of the difficulty in Genshin is just understanding what to do, but that can be done for you. And once it's already done for you, then the skill is very... the skill requirement is very low. The skill ceiling is not high. It's not that the skill ceiling is not high, it's that the skill floor is not high. It is very, very easy to get to a point where you play decently well. Now, I do think the skill ceiling for a lot of characters can be very high. But like I talk about this very often. I'm not good at games. Alright? If you've ever seen me play any game other than Genshin, you'll know. I'm not good at games. Alright? I have fucking old man hands. Yeah, you've seen me aim with bows, exactly. I'm not good at games at all. But a lot of people think that I'm good at Genshin, and it's not because I'm that good at Genshin, it's just because I've put in the time to understand what's going on. And the threshold for decent execution in Genshin is pretty low. You're just getting 99% of the music Genshin mini game. But that's not a game, that's just music. Rhythm games aren't games, they're just instruments with more steps. Being good at rhythm games doesn't mean you're good at games. Like, if I asked my mom to sit down at a rhythm game, I told her like what the buttons do. After like 10 minutes, she'd get the hang of it. She'd be fine. If I asked my mom to play Genshin, she'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" They're like, obviously, I don't mean that they're not actual. They do not fit the definition of a game, but like, you know what I mean, right? When someone says they're not good at games, what they mean by games is not the strict definition of what counts as a game, right? Like, they're talking about the sort of skill set that is important in most games. The sort of skill set that is important for rhythm games and for other games is very different. Yeah, exactly. Things like reaction time, aiming, combos, that sort of stuff. That's actually the main reason why I was not that bad at RuneScape, because RuneScape isn't a game. RuneScape is a rhythm game. Like, RuneScape combat is basically just Osu with extra steps. And that's why I wasn't that bad at it. But I wasn't that good at it either, because I'm not very good at precise mouse movement. Timing stuff I'm pretty good at, but precise mouse movement, I'm not. Same kept dying to Zajef while meleeing him. Is that Nick in the chat? That's crazy. Yeah, like, if I played Osu on, like, with my mouse and keyboard, alright, I would probably fucking suck ass. But on a tablet with a fucking, like, the fucking thing that people use, like the pen or whatever the fuck, I think I'd be pretty good. Because I'm just not good at the mouse movement. Is it worth a 90 llama? Not really. Unless you're playing her in Nilo teams. In which case, it can be. How likely is it that Nefer gets nerfed hard enough to make Flinzy Nefer has a similar ceiling? I expect Nefer to release in a state where she's slightly better than Flint's. But I do also expect her to get a bit of a nerf before release.